اربعین بحثی رو انتخاب کردم که انشالله جالب باشه براتون و اونم هست به نام Benefits of Crying. البته این صحبت رو بنده با انگلیسی خودم رو آماده کردم و به انگلیسی میگم، ولی خلاصه ای از اون رو انشالله به فارسی هم خدمتتون خواهم گفت. همونجور که مستحضر هستید بحثایی رو که بنده به هر حال در زمینه کاری خودم هست رو بحثایی انتخاب میکنم که بتونم ساپورت علمی هم پشتش داشته باشه و سخن و کلام اصلی اربعین و این ایام رو حاج آقا انشالله بیشتر برامون توضیح خواهند داد. So the subject of tonight's talk is about benefits of crying, and it's been long debated that does really crying offer any beneficial effects, any potential benefits. The first things first. So first thing is why our eyes tear. So this part you probably already know. Tears are produced to basically keep our eyes moist and healthy and keep the particles out of our eyes. Our eyes actually are considered a sterile environment, even though it's not fully sterile at all times, but it is closest to sterility that you can get. And it's a very interesting system to keep everything out of the eye that's open to the environment. There are antibodies in our tears that control infection, so keep our eyes clear of infections. Tears are also released by crying. So this is a physiological response to our emotional ups and downs, basically. It could be to negative emotions, like for the Ashura, what happened in Ashura to Imam Hussein, for example, which is a grief. Or it could be to positive emotions, which is when we're overjoyed. And that certainly relieves the stress that is exerted on our bodies. Now, there are quite a few proposed benefits of crying that's rolling around. It's been debated for many years, and some of them are listed here. That it releases toxins from our body, it relieves stress, kills bacteria, improves our vision, elevates our mood. And lastly, which was really interesting, and I never thought of that, is boosting our communications. And I was wondering how that could do that.
Allah.
So I took the list and I did my own fact checks to see if really crying does offer any benefits. First was the toxin release. And in that area, actually, there's this Dr. William Fry, who is a biochemist, have done extended research to find out the difference in the composition of the regular tear versus the tear that comes out of our eyes when we are tearing based on a response to an emotional stress. And he concluded that the tears that come out of grief and out of emotional stress has definitely different composition to it. The regular tear is mostly water and some salts. But the tear that comes out due to grief has lots of proteins in it, and also a lot of proteins that are called stress hormones in general. And I have listed a few of them down here, prolactin being one of them.
Excuse me, doctor. The happy tears differ than sorrow tears?
Good question. That part I really don't know the answer to. That's a good question. They group them together. The tear that comes from being overjoyed and tear that comes from being emotionally stressed, they're both categorized into one category. And when you compare those with the regular tears, the composition is totally different. And it's amazing how that could happen. So the first fact that toxins are being released has been proven. And I have evidence if you're interested in reading more on this. Number two is stress relief. And I think most of us remember at times when we are stressed in our life, we have some certain difficulties, and some little crying can take that stress off. If you haven't experienced it, you can ask anyone. Most people have. So we can say by experience that it does really help with relieving stress. And one thing that is scientifically has been shown is the release of manganese. It's not magnesium, it's manganese that is released when we cry. And manganese is a stimulant. And when our body gets rid of the manganese, our body can relax more. So that's another fact check, that crying does relieve stress. But killing bacteria, that's definitely a fact. Our lacrimal gland, which is the tear gland, produces an enzyme called lysozyme. The lysozyme is known for many, many years that it exists in our tears all the time, but certainly more when we cry. And the lysozyme does kill bacteria and viruses. The other thing was the improving vision. A lot of people say that it does improve my vision, but I did not really find any scientific evidence or anyone checking that fact to be certain to tell you that it does improve vision. So that part I have to say not proven yet. Let's put it that way. Elevating mood. So elevating mood and relieving stress kind of go hand by hand. I quoted a direct quote from a reputable website, and that was published in 2015, last year. A new study finds that a good cry may help you feel better. The only thing is, of course, when we cry in response to an emotional stress, at first we don't feel good. At first we feel sad. So our mood at first declines, but after a short period of time, usually within a couple of hours, the mood is elevated beyond and above the original initial mood before the event. So that has also been proven to be helpful in elevating our moods. Improving communication. So that's the part that I was really puzzled as to, does it really help with communication? What does it mean? So I thought of, when our kids were born, that was the only mean actually that they had to communicate with us. When they were hungry, when they were, they needed care. So that basically, that's one example. And in other situations, expressing emotions. Something is really serious when you see someone crying. Like, for example, I put President Obama's picture there. That was taken from the day that he was visiting that elementary school where the shooting took place, I think a couple of years ago. So he was attending there, and he was really emotionally charged and he was crying because of the event, and he couldn't hold his tears. So that is communicating to us that how he really felt. Yeah. So yeah, that could be a different means of communication. One eye versus both.
I thought maybe this picture is after election.
That could be too. Maybe after election he wasn't feeling good. He was emotionally stressed for sure. So here's our conclusion. So basically, tears are basically a blessing for our eyes' health. As I said here, shedding tears offer many physiological and especially psychological benefits. The bottom line is that emotional crying, like what we do during our grief for Imam Hussein, for example, in the month of Muharram, is an emotional cry. If it is in the right setting, of course we don't wish anyone to be under emotional stress to be crying. However, what we do is pretty much justified. This is something that's self-selected, and we do it just out of feelings that we have inside of us. And thank goodness we're not actually under stress to be crying. So this kind of cry at the right setting, which for us would be masjid here, is basically can be good for health, and that's the bottom line. And I said in the third sentence there that during the month of Muharram, the emotional crying is not only good for our health, it also helps with our solidarity as a community of Muslims. So when we come together, we think about Imam Hussein and the events that went on. Of course, I hope that we all learn from it, and I think we do. And that is a good sign of solidarity amongst us. بسیار خب، این صحبت بنده اینجا تموم شد. انشاءالله که مورد قبول قرار گرفته باشه. حالا به فارسی هم من خدمتتون خیلی سریع میگم. این درباره اشک ریختن بود این صحبت، و اینکه آیا استفاده هم به ما هم میرسونه یا نه. و چیزهایی رو که صحبت شده بود که 6 تا از جوانب مختلف رو از لحاظ استفاده هایی که به ما میرسونه رو صحبت شده بود که بنده یک به یک اینا رو در راجع بهشون تحقیق کردم و به نظر میاد که اکثرش درسته. و از همه مهمتر این که زمانی که ما برای امام حسین مثلا اشک میریزیم، میتونه خیلی از استرس ها و فشارهایی که روی زندگی ما هست رو از ما برداره و کم کنه. برای همین است که ما احساس بهتری میده بعد از اینکه ما این عزاداری ها رو انجام میده. اگه سوالی دارید من در خدمتتون هستم.
ممنون آقای دکتر از مقاله که آوردین. در مورد اون قسمت که فرمودین باعث میشه که ویژن ایمپروو بشه، فرمودین که دلایل علمی وجود نداره، ولی از مطالبی که خود شما اشاره فرمودین که پروتئین ریلیز میشه توسط اشک، میتونیم این نتیجه‌گیری رو بکنیم باعث میشه که نسبت قرنیه چشم محافظت بشه. چون وقتی مقدار پروتئین در خون میره بالا، مقدار پروتئین و چربی در خون میره بالا، باعث میشه که قرنیه گاهی موقع پاره میشه و این احتمال داره که وقتی که اضافهش تخلیه بشه باعث میشه که جلوگیری از پارگی و قرنیه. اینو باز از کلمات خود شما استفاده کردن بود، شاید دلیل علمیش بشه.
بسیار عالی. ایشون فرمودن که ممکنه قسمتی که در رابطه با improving vision بود، یعنی که ممکنه زمانی که چشم پروتئین هایی رو که ریلیز میکنه از طریق لاکریمال گلند میتونه تاثیرات مثبت خوبی داشته باشه برای روی ویژن و دید چشم. اونم ممکنه، چون برای بنده چیزی پیدا متاسفانه نکردم، ولی به این دلیل نیست که اطلاعاتی اگه نباشه به دلیل نیست که این اتفاق نمیفته. زنده باشید.
بازم یک از برادر عزیز و گرامی ما دکتر صاحب روزی طلب یک جان تشکر میکنیم با این معلومات